Greetings. My name is Candace Chambers, and I am the CEO of Educational Writing Services, LLC, and this is Ask Candace C. Okay, so today's question comes from Phil, and Phil's question is concerning how can he become an online adjunct professor. So here's his question. Hi Candace, I read on your website that you are also an online instructor as well as the CEO of your business. How did you become an online instructor, and how did writing play a role in your position as far as conducting your job, but also how did you get the job? And do you have any advice for me as I work to become an online adjunct professor? So thank you, Phil, for writing in. So the way I'll start the conversation is to discuss my personal experiences with adjuncting and then give you tangible tips that you can use to become an online instructor. So first, I started adjuncting about like 3 years ago, and I did it because I just wanted more teaching experience. So I finished my master's degree, and what many people don't know is that you can really become an adjunct professor on the college level if you have your master's degree, or usually if you've done like 18 hours outside of your bachelor's degree in a graduate program, you qualify for most adjunct positions. So I've taught in 3 different programs. So one is through a local community college in my area, whereas I've taught in person, but I've also taught in an online capacity where I created my course based on what the department had provided as far as the standards for the course. I've taught in a program that's strictly online, whereas the school creates the modules, and then I serve as the assessor and the instructor for the students. Then I also taught in a program that has face-to-face courses, but also an online component, whereas the school also does create the modules, but I do more of the assessment and the instruction and the guidance for my students. And then I've also taught, it wasn't really in a program, but I've taught at a university, whereas I had to create the course from scratch, like use Canvas and things of that nature to create the course. So I taught in different capacities, and so what I would say as far as teaching online, a lot of people think it's just an easy job, you get easy money, but you still have to think about the students. So the students are still at the forefront of the job that you are trying to pursue or the job that you are doing, but at the same time, it is very convenient. It saves time. You don't have to drive to a physical location. Sometimes it can be a bit more work because you are in an online capacity, so sometimes it might require a bit more work as far as being hands-on with your students because they can't see you. But at the same time, it's a very rewarding position, and it does provide supplemental income. So the different things that you will need to become an online adjunct instructor are as follows. So first, you will need a resume or a CV. You also need your college transcripts from your bachelor's degree, but also if you finish your master's degree or if you've done credit hours in a graduate program, you will need that for your transcript. Also references. Try to have at least 3 people that can write you a good reference, or that you can put on your application as a reference for your application. So those are the top 3 things that you really would see for all your applications as far as to become an online adjunct instructor. And you want to make sure someone has proof your CV and your resume. Make sure that you can actually, many schools will allow you to download your transcript and just have it on your computer, and you can just upload it to your application. And then make sure you have really good solid references. Also, one thing that could make you stand out from other applicants is a teaching philosophy. Many applications have this as an optional component to your application, but include that if you can. Teaching philosophy is more so like, what are your thoughts about teaching? Like, do you rely on other theorists to inform your practice, or if you haven't taught before, like, who do you rely on as far as like to influence how you teach? And it's good to include a teaching philosophy with your application to make it stand out. Another thing I've been asked before is like, if you don't have teaching experience, like how do you apply for these positions? I would say any teaching experience that you have, whether it's in your community, your church, with small kids, with larger kids, with bigger kids, then include that experience as well. So I know in some of my interviews they've asked if I had online teaching experience. That's another thing that people do ask if you're going to teach in an online capacity. But if you work, in your graduate program and the online studies, you can mention that because you have been familiar with, navigating the online platforms and things of that nature. So that's just another thing that you can include for your application. Now, another last question is, how do you find these positions? And two things I like to mention are Indeed and websites from your local community college or university. When I was trying to find adjunct positions, I use Indeed faithfully. So I put my resume and CV, or you can do a balance of both, and I put them on Indeed, and I set up email alerts for the jobs that I wanted to snag. So I'm an English teacher, so I put online English instructor, online English professor, college English professor. You just have to play with the keywords, and I put them in my Indeed search. And so I set up alerts on my phone, and that's how I was able to even snag one of my jobs, was through Indeed. Also, check the websites of your local community college. Don't discount the schools that are near you as far as getting a teaching opportunity. So keep checking those websites. Even the universities, keep checking those as well. Ask around. Inside Higher Ed is another good website. But don't give up. You're not going to get them right off the bat. It took me a year to get a position. And I had teaching experience. And it just takes time. And so do not give up. Don't think like if you get one rejection, you're never going to get another position again. If you don't hear back from someone, it's a part of the process. But I would say keep your applications current. Keep checking, keep applying, and then you potentially will snag one. And it's funny because when I did snag one, I had like 3 job offers at the same time, and I have been waiting for a year to even get one adjunct position. And so they're really rewarding. You can usually call on, the school, like I need to teach a class, I need to teach 2 classes, and they usually have one for you. And so it's a really cool, experience. And so that's what I would say as far as like becoming an online adjunct professor. If you have any questions about it, just feel free to send me an email at edwritingservices.org, and I'll be glad to assist you with your materials or any type of questions that you might have about the process. All right. So if you have any questions for me, you can send a contact form to edwritingservices.org. We have a contact page, and just title it Ask Candace C, and I'll be glad to address your question. All right, so thank you.